Good afternoon, everyone. James O'Reilly here from Northeast to talk to you quickly about the 2020 election and why it doesn't actually matter to any of your investment portfolios. I'm going to jump straight into this. Currently, it looks very, very likely that Joe Biden is going to secure his first term in the White House. There's some ridiculous conjecture about Supreme Courts and freezing ballots and things like that. I can't see any of that really materializing. Hopefully, hopefully we can get a clear winner in the not too distant future. One of the things of note is that at this stage, although Biden looks like he is going to be the president, of course it will be a Democratic presidency, it doesn't look as though the Democrats are going to control the Senate. And that's quite important because the Senate, if you don't control the Senate, that can really get in the way of your ability to pass laws and ultimately deliver on a lot of the election promises that you did make. So Joe Biden made some big statements about what he'd like to do from a climate change perspective, from a COVID-19 perspective, from an economic perspective. In order to enact those freely, you really do want to win the Senate also. So we'll see how this unfolds, but this might actually make his first term, he might be a little bit more hamstrung than perhaps he would have thought to be if he was to win this election. In any case, though, I'm going to keep moving because I want to talk about something that happened in 2016, and that's that we had the federal election, or the US election, and that was, of course, between Clinton and Trump. And overwhelmingly, Clinton was favourite. I think at one point Trump was about 7, or even on polling day, he might have been $6 to win. Just highly unlikely according to bookmakers everywhere. We know how that one unfolded, of course. So, of course, we got that one wrong, and the predictions, we got that one wrong. But the next one is particularly interesting. The rhetoric from investment managers around the world was that Clinton would beat Trump and investment markets would rise as a result. That's great news that Clinton's won, markets will go up. Well, Trump beat Clinton and investment markets went up anyway. So I see that as a double whammy. We got both of those wrong. And then in the same year, of course, we had Brexit, you might recall, and the general consensus was that UK would say no to Brexit, they'd stay in the European Union. Of course, that was wrong. And what's more, the view was that if they said no to the European Union, then that would be fantastic and markets would go up. Well, the opposite happened and markets went up anyway. So that amongst many other experiences with these sort of conversations and these sort of predictions have led me to take them with a real grain of salt. Mainstream media is not very good at predicting or reporting well on this stuff. I think it reports on it a lot nevertheless because there's a lot of people that are interested. There's a lot of investors, a lot of superannuants and people that are wondering how it's going to impact their money and want to know more. So it's fantastic clickbait, but the reality is that it doesn't actually we don't really have much of an understanding as to how a Biden presidency or a Trump presidency is truly going to impact markets in the short term, other than perhaps saying that on the balance, a clear winner either way is likely to create some rise in the markets just simply because markets don't like uncertainty. There's a reason why during a COVID fall, or a COVID event, there's a reason why there's such a sharp share market fall, and that's because there's just tremendous uncertainty as to what the economy and the outlook is going to look like at that point, so people get out. In periods of certainty, everyone's willing to pay much higher prices to get into investment markets. Overarchingly, don't panic. This is obviously a very, very zoomed out graph from January 26 to December 2019. You can see that the periods of Democratic presidency are denoted with blue and Republican with red. Is there any statistically significant takeaway here? No, other than over the long term, the market will grow. So more of the same. If you're a client, we are investing your money with a long-term view. We're not materially concerned in most cases as to what happens today or tomorrow, and that is absolutely true of the US election right now. So let's continue to watch this carefully. But if you're watching it carefully, please don't watch it carefully with the intent of letting it dictate what you do with your portfolio. Watch it carefully because you're interested in politics and you maybe you might want to see a change in the White House. Lastly, this is a super busy slide, but I think it's a great one. It's one of my favorites that I've seen this year. And it's Bank of America asking every 2 months for about 8 years, specifically what is the biggest tail risk in the markets. And a tail risk, essentially saying if something horrible is to happen with markets, what's the number one reason why it's going to happen? And you can see these were responses. These were the number one responses over 8 years. Now, of course, this graph goes to December 19. If we added 2020, then there was a little thing called coronavirus, which I'm sure would feature there. But the point being here that there's always something. There's always risks in the market, and some of them materialize and are real risks, and others were non-events, and we shouldn't have ever stressed about them because they never materialized and they were never going to materialize. So as part of this, I would really encourage, there's that approach. There is always going to be something with investing. If there weren't, then investing would be a very, very different game altogether, and we certainly wouldn't get the returns that we get from investing like this. So to that end, I would encourage to everyone, let's take a long-term view here. As a client, if you have questions or if there's something that you want to clarify, we are 100% here for you, and we want to chat. Please pick up the phone. But thematically, we've given a lot of thought to this, and can confidently say that you have nothing to worry about, and we can all get on with it. Thank you so much, everyone. Happy Thursday, and I'll chat to you all soon.